Back to the Culture Call on Praise 93.3 with L. Spencer Smith. Our desire is to reach and empower the community by discussing a cross-section of relevant topics from various perspectives that are essential to its growth and interpersonal connections. Be sure to save our call-in number, 205-752-4800. Be sure to install the free Praise 93.3 app so you can send L. Spencer Smith a message or topic idea. Search for WTSK in your app store.
This is a world premiere.
Great morning, great morning, great morning, precious people. Yes, I am back. Welcome to the Culture Call, the place where Tuscaloosa meets the world. That's right, we've gone global. And for the next 2 hours, I'm going to be here. That's right here on Praise 93.3 from the hours of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. to talk a little bit about everything. That's right, from society to sports, education to economics, from religion to relationships. We are always here to create a safe space to have empowering, provocative, and yes, sometimes controversial conversations. And guess what? You can call in and chat it up with me as we learn together right here on the Culture Call. Let me tell you, y'all, I'm glad to be back. I was out for ministry a couple of days, and I've been hearing all the stuff that's been going on, and y'all been telling me that you miss me. I feel so good about that. I really do. Sometimes you got to make folk miss you sometimes, yeah. But thank you guys for praying for me and everything. It's been a wonderful time. Listen, I want to encourage you, as I do every morning while I'm on, to go ahead. If you haven't done it already, go to your Apple or your Android device store. Yeah, where you get your apps, your downloads and things, and download Praise 93.3. Download our app, our free 99 app, and guess what? You can hear us all around the world, right? In Japan, in Egypt, and wherever you are, especially right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And you can hear me while you're working. That's right. You can listen to me on your cubicle. You can put your earphones and, at your desk or wherever, and you don't have to miss one single solitary episode of the Culture Call, right? And so I want to make sure that you do that. Of course, as always, I want to be your marketer. I want to be your PR specialist. I want you to go ahead and email me your events or your public service announcements to culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com. And give me an opportunity to let Lottie, Dottie, Potty, Soddy, everybody know exactly what is going on in your neck of the woods. You know why? Because we definitely do it better when we do it together. That's right. We want to create some traffic for your event, whether it's your church, your fraternity, your sorority, maybe it's just your group. Whatever you're doing, we want folks to come and support you. How about that? Absolutely. We want them to do that. And so, yes, definitely, because we do it better when we do it together. And listen, you can write down the number 205-752-4800. That's 205-752-4800. And you can call in to be a part of the show. I love to hear from you. I love to hear your voice. I love to hear your perspective. You are important to the show. And of course, you can always hit me on the app. You can hit me in there, and I'm looking at it between, on breaks or whatever, because I want to know what you're thinking. Yeah, let me know how you're being blessed or how you're being encouraged or edified. Let me know if I'm stinking up the joint, if I'm not doing a good job. Or you can definitely let me know what are some topics that you want me to cover. Yeah, we have some amazing topics coming up for you. Yeah, that you all have told me you want me to cover. And we're going to do just that because I want you to know that I hear your voice. So listen, do me a favor, sit back and relax. Grab you some coffee. Yeah, you know what we like here, Maxwell House or Starbucks. What's my flavor? There it is, caramel macchiato. Absolutely. Get you some herbal tea, some chamomile, or some green tea this early in the morning. You probably need a little green tea. Has a little healthy amount of caffeine to give you that little boost, a little encouragement. Stay away from those energy drinks. I had to learn that the hard way. Nonetheless, yeah, get your little caffeine boost or get you some alkaline water, definitely, and get down to that cellular level and wake those cells up, get hydrated, and let's get into the culture. Listen, this week, as we are on the edge or the precipice of the fall school term. That summer is almost over. I think we're a few days away from summer being over, and everybody's rustling and bustling, tax-free weekends and all those different kinds of things, and we are trying to get our students ready. I want to dedicate a couple of days simply to encouraging the teachers. That's right. So the next 2 days, we're going to be dealing with encouragement for the teachers. That's right. Because everybody encourages the student. They do. Everybody encourages students to stay focused, to get their minds back in the game, to do, at our church, we say, get the chords, right? How they give you those little different color chords. That tells you that you got honors and you've done achievements. So our motto at the Impact Nation is get the chords, right? Every year we say that. And so, yeah, we do that. We give them children prizes, incentives. We give them certificates. We do that not just at the beginning of the year, but all throughout the year, right? But who really recognizes the teacher, right? Who really focuses on appreciating and inspiring and encouraging the educators that do such a tremendous job and a heavy lift every year, and dare I say every day, that they spend more time with our children than actually we do. Between homework, between schoolwork, and all those different kinds of things, focusing and studying, and and our own work, our teachers become quasi surrogate parents for our children. And we need to definitely build, especially in the Black community, we need to build that kind of fortified community for our children to be the best that they can be. That will never happen if we don't stop and refresh the teacher. That does not happen if the teachers are worn down or they feel unappreciated. That does not happen when they feel ignored and they get the lowest pay to create the highest pay. Let me try it again. That teachers literally get the lowest pay. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Teachers literally get the lowest pay to create students who will one day get the highest pay, right? That elementary school and middle school and high school teachers, they teach the doctors, they teach the lawyers, they teach those, those astrophysicists and brain surgeons, right? That those people don't just get there. They encountered a teacher that imparted that wisdom and that insight and that knowledge, those particular skills, and gave them the opportunity to become at the height of their profession. And that's so very important. And, sometimes we don't appreciate and encourage them like they need to be. So we're going to take the time right here on the Culture Call to stop a moment at the beginning of the year. And you're probably hearing me doing this all throughout the year, to celebrate a teacher, to celebrate those educators and those, administrators who work feverishly and tirelessly on behalf of our children, right? That they help us make our children great so that our families can become great, right? So that they can move into the future and be valuable assets and not harmful liabilities, right? And so we cannot forget them. We cannot forget them. Right. And so this morning, our centering moment is, why are they needed? Why are teachers really needed? Bar the interesting things that's going on in the American education system now, bar all of that. I don't think that we recognize the kinds of pressure and that teachers go through. Right, that they have to not only deal with the nuances and the educational thing, the pedagogy and teaching children the basics. They have to be so many things to so many children, right? And I think the average classroom now is about from 24 to 32. At least that's what it was a couple of years ago. And that teacher has to know each child in a different fashion, because of course, if you're going to teach properly, you have to understand that there is some basic information that all children in your classroom need to understand. But then outside of that, each child has their own personality, their own environment, where they come from, who their parents are, what their particular learning style is, how quickly or how slowly that they achieve. And that teacher has to be the umpire, the manager, the referee of all of that. right? Outside of outside of motor skill development and cognitive development, they've got to teach emotional intelligence. They've got to, they have to do so many things. They have to be the reminder of forgetful students who can remember the code to Xbox and all these different kinds of technology. They have all kind of technology, but they can't remember to do their homework and do their readings, right? And the teacher really becomes that person who is left responsible for that, right? Now, when I was I'm from a family of educators. My mom, my dad, my grandparents, my aunties, my uncles, all those. I come from a family of teachers, a family of educators. And one of the things that I can say is that it never ends. It never ends. That even during the summer, during the summer months, they're preparing. They've got classes to take. They got to get certified. They got, new technology, new information comes out and is required of them to, spend a part of their summers and their breaks educating students or educating themselves so that they can better educate students, right? And these are things that they don't get paid for a lot of times. These are things that, we as parents overlook. And it's very difficult, right? It is very difficult and very hard to be a teacher. But you know what? There's an adage that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And even though that is a true statement with regards to the whole interaction and relationship between the teacher and the student, the reality is that the teacher has to appear even if the student is not ready, right? And then not only that, they have to deal with that, they also have to deal with this whole understanding of the changes in education. Again, when I was coming up, we learned what we learned. We learned our reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? What they call the 3 R's, right? And we know that arithmetic is not an R, but nonetheless, right? They taught us basic pedagogy, but they taught us citizenship. They taught us, what it meant to be an American, and all those different kinds of things. And they taught us history. They taught us all the things that were necessary for us to be viable, right? It wasn't so test-oriented, standardized test-oriented, but they were teaching us the things that we needed to know. Things that we needed to know to be productive humans. Let me say that again. They taught us things that we needed to know, right, to be productive human beings, to be kind, right, to be respectful, right, to have a certain moral kind of value. And when I say moral, I'm not talking about it simply from a religious perspective. Right, because in America, teachers were deeply rooted in the religious community as well. They were viable and they were influential in their churches as well. But they didn't come, of course, and teach, any kind of theological learning. They taught us and they used those lessons to teach us how to be moral, how to be ethical, and how to treat each other, how to treat, people who are different from you. And again, that was when I was growing up. Fast forward to now, there seems to be some level of oppression and some level of negating the importance of the value of teachers in the classroom, right? That they go to school all of this time, they graduate with degrees, and then they have to be certified, and then they have to go through certain classes, and then only for, politicians and administrators to tell them what they can and cannot teach, only to be fussed at by parents when their children, they know the kind of kids they send to school, and they don't have parents as partners on their side. And yet they still have to teach. And so when we brandish this question, why are teachers needed? Just look at our society. Look at what happens when a teacher is involved with a child's life. Look at that. You think about people like Marva Collins, and you think about people who are profound teachers. You think about people and administrators like Joe Clark, right? You think about all those people who are very instrumental in coming into places and making differences in the lives of children, and especially Black children. That teachers are so very important to the Black community that I think sometimes we forget that. I think we have gotten so caught up in giving our children what we didn't have, that we forget to give them what we did have. And one of the things that we did have were great teachers. Yeah, this society is being shaped or has been shaped by great teachers. And there's come a disruption in the educational system, a disruption of awareness, a disruption of content gathering, a disruption in the agency of teachers who have been skilled and educated by politicians who have been paid by certain agencies and companies to purport some kind of ideology and feed it to our children. The teachers that no longer have liberty, that literally today their jobs in this country, the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? This country that preaches and believes and says it believes in freedom have restricted teachers only to teaching certain curriculums that focus on certain ideological preferences. And those teachers have to teach that knowing the truth if they want to keep their jobs, right? Because there's some disgruntled parent. There is some politician who's looking and peering down their back because they don't want their children to be indoctrinated with what they consider to be liberalist or left-wing ideology, when in fact, education is just simply education. Now, I don't agree with teachers going in and simply teaching their own perspective to gear the children to their own insight. That is not what teaching is. That's what they call indoctrination. Yeah, that's what they call manipulation of the mind. But I believe that good teachers ought to be available to give students all of the accurate information from history and from the present context that will help them make better and wise decisions for the future, right? That one of the things that is very scary and about teaching, especially teaching in the South, is that it has historically been a kind of penchant to keep the people ignorant, especially again in the South, to keep them ignorant and uneducated so that they can control and can be manipulated. That the economic baseline of the South since the abolition of slavery has been at the low end, right? So we know that during the time of slavery, the wealth system had been, really, really strong in the South, especially with the introduction of cotton and rice and indigo, et cetera, right? And so, but with that turn and that change, the wealth has been different. It's more of a manufacturing, laboring kind of thing, right? And so what teachers are designed to do is elevate the minds of the students so that they can break above poverty. And that poverty doesn't just have to do with money. It has to do primarily with thinking. Break poverty thinking, break lack thinking, give them options of their future, begin to teach them and give them awareness of their options in life. That's the value of teachers, especially in the South. And when you look at the numbers for Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, you will begin to see that they are at the low part of the totem pole when it comes to education. When it comes to overall education of its students, is low. And that speaks because of the focus and the value, or better yet, the lack of focus and the value on education. And it also speaks to the teacher, right? It also speaks to that level of understanding. Teachers are not paid enough. They are not paid enough to deal with all they have to deal with. They are not paid enough to deal with students who have behavior problems. They're not paid enough to deal with administrators that may have chips on their shoulders and be micromanagers. They're not paid enough to deal with parents who are not partners. And every time something goes on wrong with the child, and the child says something wrong that the teacher did, the parent comes, and fusses at the teacher and becomes an enemy of the teacher. Right, so that their little Johnny or their little Jessica can have their way in the classroom, right? And so it's hard out here for teachers. It's hard, and yet they must teach, and yet they must still believe in the possibility that every child can be educated. They must believe in the possibility that if I touch one child and they shape the future, then I have done my job. And so the reward for teachers sometimes is not immediate. The reward for teachers is not because they pass students, because they're controlled by certain benchmarks there. They pass students at the end of the year. The reward for teachers is the future. The reward, let me say that again. The true reward for teachers are the future, because what they're doing now literally shapes the life of the people who will what? Control the future. Absolutely. And if we don't do that, if teachers don't do that, and I say we because I was a teacher and I'm still a teacher, right? If we don't do that, then what will the future look like? If we don't do that, poverty is going to take over. If we don't do that, we're going to have ignorant people as a part of the citizenry, as a part of the populace. We're going to have people who don't understand, how the world works, how the country works. We're going to have people who don't know, who can only utilize slow-paying jobs, right? Right. That's what we're going to have if we don't have teachers. And so I wanted to stop right here this week to make sure that as we approach the beginning of a new school year, I want to say to everybody that's listening to me, celebrate your teachers. We celebrate the students. Sometimes we celebrate them too much. I'm of the penchant, and of course you don't have to agree with me, because of this gentle parenting and all this. I don't believe that every child needs a trophy. I believe that it should be merit-based. That's me. I don't think you need one for participation. You get somebody, they're flunking out of school. But listen to this. They're flunking out of school, but they get a certificate for perfect attendance. You might as well have stayed home. What did you come to school for? Right? One of these things are not like the other, right? But the real true celebration, and I think it needs to be highlighted again, teachers used to be revered in the community. Let me say that again. That teachers used to be revered in the community. They used to be honored. They used to be celebrated. They used to, if the teacher said it, it was so. At least in my community. That's how it was. I remember my teachers, Miss Shine, yeah, Miss Cottrell, Mr. Wright. I remember them, absolutely. Miss Ravenel. I remember all of those who had significant parts of shaping my world. Miss Touchberry, Mr. Geis, Miss Nelson. All of those teachers, yeah. Miss Jefferson, my goodness, my business admin teacher, right? Yeah, all of those people, Miss Wallace, who taught us to be what we are in the community now. And that's been years ago. I'm not going to tell you how long it's been ago, but it's been years ago, right? But these teachers those teachers that I remember had a hand in shaping me and who I am today. I've gone all over the world. I've preached in places. I've taught in places. I've sung in places. I've led in places that right there from that little school in a place called Cross, South Carolina, on the outskirts of Moncks Corner, right? That little place created big people, created dreams in me, gave me the opportunity to dream. Yeah, that little country school. Those teachers made sure that we would go places or have the opportunity to go places that they never had to go, right? That they never would be able to go. That's what they did. That's why I say the teacher's real reward is the future. That when they look at me, some of them see me now and they're like, I knew something was great. I knew something was going to come out of you. I would have never thought it would be this. But yeah, every time they listen to my music, they hear me on YouTube and Facebook, and they see me on Instagram. Those who are not, going on to be with the Lord, they're like, yo, I'm super proud of you. And I always give it back. I said, listen, you taught me X, Y, Z, ABC. Absolutely. And so, yes, why do we need teachers? To shape the future. Our whole state will be better if they just let teachers teach. Let the politicians politic and let teachers teach. Let educators educate. Absolutely. Absolutely. That this quasi agenda, this false idea of a woke education system, which seems like it's bad, but it's really not. I want my education system to be woke. I want them to teach our children the truth. That's how we begin to build a better society. That's how we begin to build a better citizenry. That, yes, we have history in this country. Yes, all that history, all of our history is not good history. Yeah, that's the facts. And those who can't understand it don't ever need to be in charge. Oh, I'm really going to deal with that at the political season. Those who don't understand and know how to navigate people through the nuances of this crazy history in this country we call America don't need to have any kind of public office because they are derelict in their duty to represent all of the citizenry. If they are out here trying to change history today, hundreds of years of history today, so that one populace won't be offended, they don't need to be in leadership. But we need to allow our teachers and empower them and encourage them to give our children the best. I appreciate the fact that my teachers did not lie to me. I appreciate the fact that my teachers did not make it easy for me, that I had to learn that calculus. I had to learn that trigonometry. I'm grateful that my teachers partnered with my parents and there was an agreement there that we would receive the best education that they knew how to give us. That's right. I'm excited. I'm excited that my teachers looked at me and said, you will not go to technical school because that's where my guidance counselor was trying to send me. They said, absolutely not. You're smarter than going to a technical school. You are smarter. Go to the university you want to go to. I had teachers to encourage me that because I was so despondent that day. You know, I'm graduating third in my class. I'm smart. I got high A's and high B's. And you want to send this genius, this potential world changer, to technical school? Not that I am not downputting anybody that has went to technical school, but that was her only option for me. That was her only option for me. And it was my teacher, my band director and my choir director really, that says, hey, look at HBCUs a little deeper, because I was always looking at an HBCU because my parents graduated from HBCUs, South Carolina State and Claflin College, respectively, right? When it was Claflin College, I think they're Claflin University right now, right? And so, and South Carolina State University. And it's like, you can look into it. And so I started digging into it. It was my teacher that took me to Florida A&M University. That they overlooked. They went to Alabama State, but they said, and here is what, now all of you ASU fans, don't be mad at me because I didn't say it. This is what my teacher said at the time. He said, if you want to go to the best music program in terms of music education to learn how to be a band director, I'm going to take you to a place in Tallahassee. And I remember that day he took me and about 4 other students to Florida A&M University, and I met Dr. William P. Foster and Dr. Julian White. And my life was, listen, once I got on that campus, that was it. That was it. I had an opportunity to go to Morehouse to study law, or I could have gone to FAMU and studied music. And my mom came to my room one night and she said, go with your heart. She said, that's what I tell my students, and that's what I'm going to tell my child. Go with your heart. I went with my heart, and I went to Florida A&M University. But you know who did that? That was a teacher that told me, you need to go someplace that's going to empower you to be who you are and give you the kind of education that you need. And I will never forget that. It was a teacher that did it. Parents, if you're listening to me, you need to take your teachers a gift, your children's teacher a gift at the beginning of the year. It can be a $25 gift card to Logan's or Longhorn or some other place, to Amazon, because you need to honor the teachers because they make it happen for our children. So, yes, why do we need teachers? Because they are those who empower us to shape a better reality. We need teachers because they encourage us to be the best of who we are. We need teachers because they are indeed the shapers of the future. And that's my centering moment for this morning. Hey, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. We've got a whole lot to encourage teachers today. Want to give you a little history and all of that, but I need you to keep it right here and don't miss it.
This is a world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. And we are having an amazing day. It's an amazing day. Listen, we're dedicating this entire day, and maybe even tomorrow, to really encouraging our teachers. Guess what? They need inspiration as well. They need to know that they are so very appreciated. And sometimes, especially in this country now, it is very clear and critical that we need to celebrate, empower, encourage, and everything else we need to do for teachers. Give them more money, give them better benefits, right? Instead of trying to control them and make them an enemy of the state. And whenever we do that, whenever we make educators and education an enemy of ours, a political enemy, basically, then we are tearing up the fabric of society and culture, and especially in the Black community. We need to go back and celebrate our teachers. That we celebrated our teachers like no other community. That the teachers are not the enemy. They're not. I don't care how they're being painted. I don't care how our teachers' unions are being painted, because I know some of you watch the news. Dare I say even Fox News, you watch all that. You watch all those different kinds of things. I understand that. MSNBC, you watch all of that, and it has a way to shape your mind. But the reality is that the teachers are necessary so that our students will know what's going on in the world. One of the things that I can remember being in school is that we had what they call current events. And what the teacher would do was give us an opportunity to talk about what was happening in the world. And not only just talking about it, but not giving us simply their perspective, but they want us to think about what was going on in the world. Now, I don't know if they still do current events, especially in our social studies and our history teacher. They would do that every day. They would say, hey, tell me a current event in the world and tell me what you think about it. Tell me what's happening in the world. And because, again, they were shaping and getting us to become critical thinkers, aware of the world in which we live. And so I think it's very important for us to understand, even as it relates to teachers, what is the current event? I know you've heard a whole lot about this CRT, and you heard about a whole lot about education and all of that. I mean, it's just so much going on. And anytime I hear about, things going on in education, it really stimulates me because, again, I am an educator as well. My wife is an educator. And we spent time in the classroom. And I saw things changing there, even though we were in the band. My music education, and she was elementary education. When I was in the band, I would ask, hey, what's going on in the world today? Before we warm up, tell me what's going on in the world today. Or when we put up our instruments, it was like, hey, what's happening in the world today? What did y'all see on the news? What are y'all talking about now? And they would tell me all of the things that they were seeing, and they would engage it with their mind, and I would offer them perspective. And I would ask probing questions and say, why do you see it that way? Because here's what I was trying to do. Those kids were growing up in what we call an impoverished neighborhood. And if I can get them to sit at least 5 to 10 minutes to watch the news as a teacher, to watch the news or to watch what's going on in the world around them, it would give them a perspective of a world outside of their world. See, that's the genius of teachers. The genius of a teacher is not to indoctrinate. Yes, it is to teach 2 + 2 = 4 in most math, because in some maths it doesn't. It does teach them, of the difference between subject and predicate, noun and verb. Yeah, it does teach them, I before E except after C, certain rules and pedagogical principles. Yes, it does teach that. But also the teacher, a true teacher, is a great inspirer of the mind. That you're not really a teacher if you don't inspire a mind to think, a mind to be, a mind to grow, right? That you have to offer them a different kind of perspective. and a different kind of understanding and allow that to grow. That's how they become mature adults. That's how they become emotionally intelligent. It's not just about the information in the book, but it is about the information and the knowledge and how it's being processed in their minds. And so teachers have the stewardship over that. Teachers next to parents, because in communication, those are the two that primarily shape the communication skills of our children. That parent, how we speak to them and doing the same thing, what you think about this, and listen to it and help them navigate, right? And that teacher does the same kind of thing. It's an extension of the parental responsibility outside of the home, right? And so one of the things that we need to familiarize ourselves, and why I said that we need to encourage and appreciate the teacher, is because of what they do. Just that portion right there, just that portion of meeting a teacher. You know, one of the greatest teachers that I've had, and of course it was on the college level by this time, but his name was Dr. Ossifield Anderson. That's a name, ain't it? Ossifield. My God. Right, Ossifield Anderson. And he taught me algebra. And I don't know who told him that I was a preacher. I know what it was. I was a family gospel choir director. And every day, it's like he would make strike up some kind of religious or biblical discussion. I'm like, yo, this algebra, man, teach me algebra, you know? But he would say things like, do you really believe? I don't think the man was an atheist, and I don't think he was, I think his idea was, do you really believe what you say you believe? And he was really a shaper of the mind. And I remember I really needed him to do something for me. And I went to his class by myself. And he said, you know what? He was a member of Omega Psi Phi. He said, have you joined the frat yet? I said, no, sir. He said, you need to be an Omega. He said, but I don't know if you need to be an Omega because you ain't doing this math right. And Omega men know how to do math. I hollered. I was like, whatever, man. He said, but listen, he was like, if you keep performing underneath your level, he said, because you can do this. You can do that. I just never liked math. I got by in high school with my high B's. That's where I made my B's at, because I knew I was going to make high A's, but he said, if you can make an A in math, I'm like, man, listen. He said, but you got to learn how to put in the work. He said, put in the work in math just like you do music, because you can't do music without math. I was like, wait. He said, you can't do music without math. He said, ain't they teaching that over there, that Foster building? The building was Foster Tanner Music Building. It's like, aren't they teaching you that you can't do music without math? All music is math to sound, rhythmic math. And at that point, he started connecting things for me in my mind. I was like, okay, yeah. I started viewing music and writing it differently. Certain things. And even though I had been with music all my life, and math is a subject that I did not like, it took me meeting Dr. Ossifield Anderson to really understand that math and music are my friends. That they, if I put them together, it would cause me to create something that I didn't understand, or a different sound, or it will embellish my musical ability to another level, right? See, when you deal with teachers, you never know. When your children interact with them, you never know what that one teacher is going to say to your child that takes their mind to the next level. See, because they are responsible for knowledge and skill development. That's what teachers do. That they have a crucial role in imparting the knowledge and the certain skills to students that will help them reach the future, right? It's not just providing, structural learning experiences, because that is true, but also they begin to get into what this child wants to be. How do they see themselves, or what do they see themselves becoming? That's important. That's what teachers do. And see, and here it is. They'll say, come back to me on your free break. Come back to me after class. Or, do you want to spend a little time with me after school? I'll call your mom, I'll call your dad, and I just need to spend some time with you so that we can get this, because you can get it. See, teachers put in that extra hour of work, those extra hours of work with our children, right? And they help our children see that the possibilities in them are endless. Yes, you can do this. You can do this language arts. Yes, you can do this math. It's not just athletics. See, because we'll let our kids stay to play football and basketball and track. And that's not shade. That's not hating. It's just what our priorities. We'll let them do that. But will you let them stay over because the teacher wants them to get a certain concept in math, a certain concept in English, that they're studying, a particular civilization and history? Would you? Yeah, that same kind of time, those same hours. Yeah, we need to encourage our students to be a part and connected to teachers like that. But teachers spend that kind of time, right? Helping them, stopping them in the hall and say, hey, hugging them when they're crying, rubbing their back. Because not only are they responsible for the skill development, they're also responsible for character development, for personal development. Yeah. That they'll say, hey, okay, yeah, let's talk about what's going on with you. You look sad today. What's going on in your mind? You can tell me. Yeah. That's what teachers do. That's what they should be doing. Right. That's what they should be doing. Right? We go through a whole list and litany of educational psychology, B.F. Skinner, Pavlov, Piaget, Maslow. We go through all of those to learn how to help children deal with the psychological and cultural nuances of their lives. Every child does not come from a stable home. Let me say that again, that every child does not come from a stable home. And so what the teachers do, they've got to make up the difference. They've got to provide some level of personal stability for our children. Let me say that again, that teachers have the assignment to provide some level of emotional stability for our children. That's right. And teach and educate. But they can't educate a student that's hungry. So sometimes teachers have to have snacks in class. Sometimes then the kids come without breakfast because whatever the home dynamic was, they couldn't eat breakfast or didn't have breakfast to eat. And what teachers do is they keep a little what my teachers call a pack of nabs. They keep some Ritz crackers with some peanut butter, those kind of things in their office, and they give it to the children and say eat, because one of the educational psychologists says that if a child is hungry, Maslow says if a child is hungry, they cannot learn. If their belly is empty, they cannot learn. And a lot of kids come. That's why they started the free breakfast and the free lunch. And now they're trying to take that out. That only makes the teaching experience more difficult, because somebody sees it more important to take money from out of education to build a prison. You see that? Than to feed hungry children, to feed children. And that does not make any sense. But see, that's a political agenda. Now, who are you appeasing? Because you're not helping the children at all. Right? But it's those teachers who don't say anything, who love the children so very much. They love those kids so much that they bring certain things, bring little juices. They keep little things. Listen, our teacher had a closet where she kept little snacks and little things, right? Right? Because in her mind, she already knew that these kids, some of them didn't come prepared or come eating breakfast, right? And that was a part of their attitudinal problem as a student, that they were upset. I kept some honey buns and some Twinkies in my office so that when a kid came and said, oh, I didn't have any money for lunch, I would give them $1 or $2 so they could go eat lunch, because you cannot educate with a child being deficient and hungry. That's what it says. It's a base need. It's a personal need. And teachers make sure that our children can learn by providing all of these other things. Now, I understand we fuss about having to bring certain things to school, but listen, there are systems and there are places that don't even assist teachers in terms of supplies anymore. And so parents, we got to go to Walmart. That's why they start doing these tax-free weekends and all this different because there are school systems that don't even supply anything. Teachers have to come out of their own pocket to decorate their classroom, to add auxiliary and additional information and commentary. They've got to do all these different things. Yeah, so that our children can have the best, because some school systems don't have it like that, right? Making sure that, the child has a pencil, the child has a pen, the child has paper. Absolutely. That's what teachers have made their responsibility. And I've sat in teachers' meetings and I've heard the things that principals have said to teachers. Yes, I've sat there, I have rolled my eyes in some of those meetings. I'm like, then how are we supposed to teach? You keep telling us no. Well, be resourceful, raise money. Wait a minute, you hired me. I'm hired to teach. I wasn't hired to raise money to get materials so that I could teach. So that's the thing. Yeah. Or we might be able to squeeze out some money, but you want a prime Christmas concert. We have no Christmas music, and you're gonna squeeze out some money, and Christmas sheet music costs this amount. So guess what I gotta do? I gotta go in my pocket, my own pocket, because the children want to do, and administration expects it to happen. Else our job is on the line, right? So teachers normally have to go in their own pocket and make things happen, right? Yeah. See, again, I know of what I'm talking about on this culture call today. That's why you need to appreciate your teachers. That's right. Shout out to every teacher, right? For the not just the skill development, not just the knowledge development, not just the personal growth and character development, not just for the individualized support, but for the inspiration and motivation, right? Thank you for that. Thank you that when you see my child depressed, or you see my child discouraged, or you see my child getting off the bus crying, that you pull them to the side and say, what's going on, son? What's going on, daughter? What's happening? That your heart is compassionate. To all the compassionate teachers. Now, if you ain't one, I'm not talking to you. But I'm talking about the compassionate teachers that really see our children of more than just a job, more than just your paycheck, but you see them as your children. You see them as the future that they are. And you go overboard and you extend yourself to make sure that they are being and getting the best. Thank you for all that you do as educators. And I know in this country is trying to change our minds in society and culture of the value of teachers. I get it. I know why it's being done. I know why it is being done. But the teachers are not adversarial. They are not the adversary of the home. Absolutely. Yeah. The teachers have to accept the child how they come. In tears, whether they're ready or not, whether they're hungry or they're full, whether they study and prepared, or whether they had an issue last night because they had to take care of their baby and sister because their parents work at night. The teacher has to have something in their heart for all of them. And today on the Culture Call, we want to encourage you. Please don't stop teaching. Please don't give up on our children. We definitely need you to help us do exactly what you already do. Absolutely. Listen, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. So much more to go. That's right. Go ahead and get rehydrated. Get your little snack. Should be breakfast time, close to lunch, but get your little something and don't miss it.
This is a world premiere.
Hey, family, we are back, and it's the top of the hour. Yeah, 11 a.m. and some change. Right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. And what a beautiful day it is. This entire day, yeah, and tomorrow, we're going to be shouting out and encouraging our teachers. That's right, not our students, our teachers. That's right, because I think that we are in a season where our teachers really, really, really need encouragement. And, for all of the great things that they do. And even as we are right here in Tuscaloosa and all around the country, they're getting ready to go back to school in another couple of weeks. And some even after Labor Day. The students out west and up north will be probably after Labor Day. I still think that, yeah, we need to show tremendous appreciation for the women and the men who are teachers that get it done for us every day, Monday through Fridays, and even on the weekends. You know, it's almost like teacher, preacher, preacher, teacher, reverend teacher, right? That means that they are on call 24 hours a day, really, right? You know, we try to take a weekend for rest, but teachers really have no weekends to rest. They may have a Saturday, but Sunday, they got to get those lesson plans. They got to get those things right back together and be ready for another school week. And if they have their own families, they got to make sure that their children are getting their stuff together as well. So it's a never-ending cycle. So definitely shout out to teachers who've been doing it. I'm talking about for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, 30-year teachers. That, you know, whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, we want to encourage you to continue to do what you do. And before you even do another thing, we want to send out a big shout out, a big thank you to all of them, all of the teachers who make sure that it happens, right? So that's what I said at the beginning of the school year. Parents, go ahead and make sure you do something that's really kind for your students' teachers or for your children's teachers. You know, wrap them a gift, give them a gift card. Yeah, that's right. And make it a part of, you know, you buying the new J's, you buying all the new clothes, and you're doing the hair and all this different kinds of things that we do for our children. Make sure you do something for the teacher. Let me say that again. Make sure that you take time to do something for the teachers, because I know that they really need it. And I'm telling you, they will definitely be blessed by it, encouraged by it. And you will see perhaps even a better performance from that teacher, because they know that they come from, or that they're representing a parent that really appreciates all that they do. You know, in America, in this country, you know, some people get upset because, like, oh, Bishop, you sure you can say that? Well, no, I can say it. Yeah, El can say it because, number one, I'm on the radio. Number two, I think it needs to be said as a part of our current events that they're making it really difficult in this country for, students to choose teaching and education departments all around the country. They're making it difficult for teachers to teach. Teachers have been leaving the profession in droves. And it's not just because it's hard dealing with the students. It's hard dealing with people who are not educators, have never been educators, who come from these different kinds of lives, and they have this ideology that doesn't even understand what the education science is, that the art of education, the science of education, the process of education. They have no clue. They're making rules and determinations, you know, even down, you know, right now the big one is down in Florida, right? Down in Florida, but I'm not gonna really jump in on this, you know, because it's encouragement to teachers. But yeah, that's an agenda. That's what I'm talking about. That teachers in Florida are trying to figure out an agenda. Now, I got my teaching certification in Florida, and we had to take a test, you know, to be certified, right? And, you know, but the rules have changed so much now that, yeah, the teachers are viewed to be the enemy of the children and society. Where has that ever happened before? Oh, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that during the time of Hitler, during the time of those dictators of the world, that the teachers were looked at as enemies if they did not indoctrinate the students to a particular political and or a cultural societal view. And so when we look at it from that perspective, teachers are under attack all around this country. The educational system is being upended by political agenda. And we've got to begin as parents to raise our voices and say, hey, now listen, if you're going to be in this political position, I'm going to need you to be a partner with education. And I'm going to need you, you know, to talk to all of the parents, not just a few, not just those who support your campaign, not just those who support your particular ideological skew. I want you to support all of our parents, all of the children represented. You know, it's interesting in Florida and all over the South that there is an attack on African American studies, African American perspective, right? As if you really want us to go back to segregation, because what you're saying is that if you're in a state public school, right, or you want us to do parent, school choice kind of situation, or you want us to homeschool. Let the parents have the responsibility. Then we can cut the education budget because the students ain't coming to school because the parents are educating. Or basically, we can give the parents a voucher and X, Y, Z, ABC. See, so there's a tremendous attack. And I have friends who are still teachers in Florida, and they are retiring. They are like, I'm out of here. I'm like, y'all, I'm gone. They're retiring at 20, 25 years. I was like, wait a minute, you're not going to get your full retirement. Nope, I'll find something else to do. But what I'm not going to do is spend all these years getting all these advanced degrees only for some politicians and people who are ideologues to come in and skew and change history, and then I'm going to ram it down my throat, and I get penalized because I won't teach lies. I won't teach a skewed perspective. I won't teach the changing of a history that only favors one people instead of the whole of the country. No, I'm not going to do that. And so they're retiring. They are retiring. And that's that coupled with low pay. And so many school districts across the country, many of them are upping the pay for teachers because, the teachers don't want to teach. And, and it's not because they don't love the children. I need to make sure everybody understands that. It's not because they don't love the children, not because they don't love teaching, not because they don't respect the educational profession. That's not what it is. It is that I'm not going to have to go. They do more fighting against, administration than a lot of times the students. And then, parents are sending these kids to school and they're using the teacher in the classroom for warfare training. I'm like, what? I mean, some of the things that we see on social media, kids coming in, disrespecting teachers, using profanity, cussing them out, being disrespectful, especially in our community. And you want the teacher simply to let them do that? No. Those teachers absolutely not. Right. Now, absolutely not. Before I fight your child and go to jail. That's what they're saying. Before I fight your child and go to jail, because that's where they're going to put me. Before I lose my teaching license, before I lose all that, and can't work anywhere else in the country, I'll leave the classroom voluntarily until I can find a place that will accommodate me. I'll work in Dillard's. I'll work in Macy's, before I stand there and let a child come in and assault me. And that is an issue. That is a parental problem. So now look, they got a political problem. They got parental problems. And here's the teacher in the middle that says, okay, what y'all want me to do? Right? What you want me to do? I know I can't pop your child in the mouth, and I know I don't even have the kind of power and the kind of access to the political arenas to get things done. I don't have the power to do all of that. So what am I to do? Right? No, I'll give you your classroom. Since you're so busy wanting it back, I'll give it back to you. Since you're so busy wanting your child to have their way in my class when they don't, no. Just because they have their way in your house, they're not going to come to my class and talk to me like they talk to you. Oh, no. Oh, no. Absolutely. And teachers are leaving by the droves because of a lack of support. And watch this. When you look at it, the increase of COVID, whether not the increase, but the situation in a post-pandemic generation where for the last 3 years, the kids were sitting up on Zoom. And now, school boards are requiring students to come back to class, because I guess COVID is not as much as a threat as it is now. And these kids for the last 3 years have not had any, hadn't had to be that disciplined because they were living in a virtual reality, and then they get back to reality, concrete reality. And now teachers have to deal with students who have been so disengaged with the process. And, we don't want teachers to have any rights and to say and to discipline and do everything for fear of losing their job, for a fear of a parent coming in, then going to the district and saying, your teacher did this, your teacher did that. And no, I'm not going to, it's not worth putting my family and my livelihood in jeopardy dealing with that. No. So all of these agendas, and when you talk about the lack of resources, we talked about that in the last half, about the lack of resources in the large classrooms. They got to manage large classrooms, right? They can't give the individualized attention and support that they used to give because now they're teaching an entire daycare center in middle school, right? And then they cannot teach for genius. They cannot teach specialized, information. That they can't teach sidebar information that will give us wisdom and insight of the world, like when I was raised. They got to teach for this thing called standardized teaching now. They got standardized testing because the students have to pass these standardized tests. So they have to teach toward the test, not teach for the student. They got to teach for the test, right? And so teachers are like, look, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Where is our partner in all of this? Where is our partner? That's what teachers are crying. Where is our partner? Who helps us? Who makes this make sense for us? And then you start adding in the workload, right? That they have to cover subjects and they have to do this, they have to include lesson plannings that they're being asked to write that's never reviewed. They're just writing it. And then they got to deal with gradings, and then they got to deal with meetings, and then they got extracurricular responsibilities because they're still trying to provide a well-rounded experience for our students, for our children with limited resources. Who helps the teachers? Right? And so the profession has become increasingly, demanding. And again, it's demanding on its face, right? With these different kinds of students, it's demanding already on its face. And then you got to add all of this and the threats if you don't teach it this way, right? And so those whole ideas, then you got some teachers who have to literally pull out of their pockets because of the inequality and the achievement gap, that rural teachers, some who are listening to me right now. Yeah, your children go to rural schools, don't have the same resources as children who are in more affluent places. They don't have the same access. You know who makes it the difference? The teacher does. Yeah, because still in this country, we don't have standardized, equal access to education. That if you improve the big communities, you ought to improve the rural communities that need it. That one of the great challenges during the pandemic was that the rural schools did not have broadband and wireless capabilities. A lot of the schools didn't have it. A lot of the homes didn't have it. And it made it difficult for teachers to teach in the rural areas. That wasn't an issue in areas where they had it, So teachers have to navigate that inequality and that achievement gap, because if they don't have access to information, the information that's being asked and required on some of these standardized testings, how do you teach? How does that child get better, right? And so that's you have to understand that teachers are not just waking up like, hey, this job, we don't want to do this job, or I just can't stand the kids, or no, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that it has changed education, and the view of scholastic achievement has changed so much in the culture, in the nation, in the state, in the locality. It has changed so much that who's going to give us the opportunity to catch up? Who's going to support us? We've got to do a better job of putting pressure where pressure needs to be had. And that pressure does not need to be on the teacher. It needs to be, because you understand, teachers have to teach in a school system that's created and formulated and mandated for them. right? That teachers don't have that kind of power to determine certain things that we think and hold them responsible for, right? They have to follow the rules. They have to follow the rules of people who perhaps have not ever been in the classroom or no longer have been so removed from the classroom that they don't understand the particularities of the students that they're teaching. They don't understand the community ideals and ideas of what happens. And so, that they have to deal with that. And that is the reality of it. That is the reality of it. You see. Now, I think teachers ought to get paid, but I also think that it shouldn't be just as easy to get a teaching certificate. That if you up the pay, there needs to be some requirements. I believe that too. There needs to be some requirements. Listen, as valuable and as important as a teacher is. See, to me, a teacher is as valuable or even more valuable than the CEO of a company, right? That they're the one that's doing that work. And yes, we ought to pay them on that level. We ought to start teachers off at $50,000, $60,000 a year. That's right, in the South, right? We ought to start it right. We ought to start their salaries there. But yes, with that, make the requirements that much more. Because we want to have, if I'm going to pay you this, there's nothing wrong with that. Make the requirements, say, hey, you got to do this, X, Y, Z, ABC. You're not just going to roll up in here and get all these benefits in a good old check, and our children are not learning, right? And that's a fundamental system, because you can have that, and if that child is not provided for properly beyond the teaching experience, then there's going to be difficulties in that area too. I'm not saying that the teachers are responsible for everything, but what I am saying is that society has to come up to the place to make teaching great again, right? To coin a popular slogan phrase, make teachers great again. That we honor them and that we respect them enough to provide. They should have to work 2 and 3 jobs, another job after they leave teaching school. Yeah, they shouldn't have to do that. They should be threatened, to live at the poverty line, because of how they affect society. Absolutely. Do better, politicians. Do better, because that's in your hands. Do better, schools districts, because that's in your hands. That's it. That if you're going to have quality teachers, that you have to provide a quality assistance for them to do their job. To do their job. As I said, they should not have to work another job after they have taught our children all day, right? Just to make ends meet for their families. Not the teacher. They shouldn't. And while some of you might not agree, I tell you what, spend a day in the classroom with that teacher. Spend one day. I bet you change your mind. I bet it will rearrange what you're thinking. Yeah, spend one day. I encourage every politician, and not talking about not spend one day observing, spend one day teaching. Right. I told one parent one time, I was like, listen, okay, no problem, because they weren't happy with the way I was doing, because I had some rules and regulations in my band room. When you walk across that threshold, it's my band room. It might be the school, but it's Mr. Smith's band room. And one parent didn't like how I was teaching their child, and I was too hard and everything. I said, I tell you what you do then. I said, no, we can fix this right now. Here's what I want you to do. Come teach one day. Come teach this band room. Well, I don't know how to teach band. That's your job. Well, if it's my job, let me do my job. Your child is not going to describe what my job is. Tell your child to practice. Tell your child to do the work. You coming in attacking me because your child upset because they got to practice or they didn't get a chance to play first chair and I put them on second trumpet. Absolutely. They don't know the part. They cannot handle the first trumpet part. So now you done took off time at your job to get embarrassed, because what you're not going to do is come in my classroom and do that. No. Your child is absolutely right. I did put them on second trumpet. But your child is absolutely wrong because they do not have the skill. So you can come in here and teach the class. You can come in here and make that happen. I said, okay, that's fine. Well, I think no. It's not what you think your child should be. It's what you think. It's what it is. It is what it is. We can go to the band room right now, and I can put the first trumpet part in your child's face, and we can see if they can play it. If they can play it today, I'll put them first trumpet. Matter of fact, I'll put them first trumpet. No, and so the parents are like, but can you go and play that? No, I can play it with some practice. I said, sir, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now, you done wasted your time. I didn't say all that, but in my mind, I was like, now, you done wasted your time trying to come check me. That you done all of that when you could have just checked your child and said, well, if you didn't get first trumpet, like my daddy used to tell us, practice. You didn't get, if you think somebody else got the first trumpet and you should be on first trumpet, then you go practice. But my dad didn't come to school, and my parents didn't come to school fussing at the band director, talking about, no, my child should be on the first. My child should be first this, first that. Of course, Matt Geist didn't care. My band director didn't care. He created a system of competition. I will only reward you as you achieve, as you learn the lessons, I will seat you, and we're going to go down the line every week. And I adopted that same thing. We're going to go down the line every week. Right? But see, that parent was so fat that we weren't a partner. See, that could have been a phone call. You could have called me and said, Mr. Smith, my child really wants to be in the first chair or in the first trumpet. What can we do to work together to make sure that happens? Okay, well, they're not coming prepared. And then there's some things I could do, but you have to let them stay after school because I can't stop the entire class to teach that one child. Armature placement and lip development and making sure that they're blowing through the horn, all those different kinds of things. I said, but I could have said that I could stay with them a little while and then we could meet somewhere, and you could pick your child up if I had to drive them or whatever. That's back when teachers could do all of that, right? Absolutely. See, we could have been partners, but you want to make me antagonists. And I think parents, we try to make teachers, our enemies. They are not. They are not. Now, listen, the teachers, every teacher ain't the kind of teacher I'm talking about right now. And I don't know why they are even in the classroom. I do not know why, because again, it's not difficult. It's not difficult creating that partnership is what I mean. Not difficult teaching, but yeah. Teaching is going to be it's difficult because I have to know each children's ability, each children's scale. And if they didn't know how to perform, then guess what I had to do? I had to make sure that I had to be fair to the class. If the person before you played better, then I got to put you where you need to be. See, the teachers have to deal with all of that. They have to measure the personalized individual achievement. They don't need fighting from the politicians and the school districts. They don't need fighting. They can't be fighting against the parents and perspectives and perceptions. They need partners in the classroom so that the experience can be successful for everyone. See, because good teachers make good students. Good teachers, if you give them an opportunity, will lift that child up to the place where they're achieving. They'll develop that level of intrinsic competition and achievement inside of them. Good teachers elevate school districts. When you got pristine teachers, when you got teachers who know what they're doing, and the districts stay out of the way and let these teachers teach like they know how to do so. Yeah, absolutely. Those teachers will cause that school district to be known all over the country. But if you keep coming in there telling them what they should do and keep changing the rules that you have absolutely, you went somewhere. Teaching in Alabama is not the same as teaching in California. It's not the same as teaching in New York. It's not the same as teaching as Texas. There are certain demographics that you got to understand, certain educational, economic things you got to look at, certain political things. You got all of that. So teachers have to understand that those particular nuances. That's why they make teachers get licenses and certifications for every state. I can't teach in Alabama and I don't have an Alabama certification, a license, because the demographics in Florida are different. Yeah. And so if we're going to make all the teachers jump through hoops just to teach, if we're going to make them, if we're going to make them come up to these systems and make sure this XYZ, then we ought to support them. I cannot say it enough. We need to support our teachers primarily. Give them the best tools. Be partners. Be partners with teachers. That's right. Be partners with teachers. I don't know if they do it, but every district, every superintendent needs to meet with teachers all of their particular district and say, we are your partners. We are your partners, and we have an ear to hear you. And don't just say it as a political vice, but say it because you really mean it. Because teachers are on the ground, and they know what needs to be done in that classroom. Teachers are there, and teachers need to know that they have the support of both the politicians, the superintendent, the district office, and the parents. They need to know they have that support and giving and teaching education as it is supposed to be taught. That's what needs to happen. Yeah, nothing less, nothing more. And you're going to see our children achieve at exponential rates when those teachers know they have that kind of partnership. When they know that they're not going to be reprimanded because they had to reprimand your child, because they had to discipline your child and say, hey, you're not doing your stuff. I need you to get your work together. Get yourself together. That they don't have to deal with children coming in trying to fight them and not being dutiful and on task. Now they got to give instructional time to disciplinary time because, and then when that happens, they don't have a partner at home that they can call and say, hey, your child is, listen, I never wanted them to call my parents because I knew the teacher was going to be right. I had to prove, hard facts and evidence that the teachers were wrong. And that I knew that was a losing battle because the teachers had partners, and that's what they still need. That's what teachers still need in America, not just in Alabama. They need partnership from the politicians, the administrators, and the parents. Absolutely. Listen, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. Yeah, beautiful day. Got a little bit more to go. Yeah, get you something to eat, get you a little drink, and come right here, come right back. Got more. Don't miss it.
This is a world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. And it has been an amazing day today. Shout out again, big shout out to all of our teachers and educators who are going back to school. Yeah. And I remember when going back to school was a thing for me. And it was bittersweet. I was ready to see the kids, but I was like, oh, goodness gracious. It's a whole nother thing, right? So, yeah, definitely shout out to all the educators all across the country, all of my brothers and sisters who are in education, who are still there. Listen, you make it happen for us, and I'm expecting you to have an amazing year. I want you to get the course this year. That's right. Go after the teacher of the year. Go after the district, the local, the national. Go after it all. Get those fellowships and those stipends that they give you, Go after the gusto. Make our kids the best children all in every district. Do your thing. Do your thing. I know that, there's some crazy things coming up or not have coming up, not that are coming up, but have already come up, against you with regards to, especially all my friends in Florida, man, and it's trying to creep all over the South and the Midwest. It's, I wish I could. I wish I could say what that we could do something immediately. But yeah, teachers, do your thing. I'm encouraging you today. You are the lifeblood of our community, especially our Black community. And I want to say again, and I'm going to say it again before I get off the air for today, if at the beginning of the year, I want you, that while you're purchasing everything for our students and all this stuff, I want you to go ahead, and that's why the kids used to bring apples for the teacher. That's why they used to really bring little gifts for the teacher, because those little things are encouragement to do their best. And in the climate in which we live now, teachers really, really need that kind of encouragement to continue on doing what they do on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and even on the weekends. See, because it's hard for teachers to disconnect from children that they love. That every year they have the opportunity to fall in love all over again with our beautiful children. And our teachers' hearts get attached. Our teachers' hearts are invested in what they do if they're good teachers. There are no teachers that are plastic. There are no teachers that are just robotic, that they have no emotions. They just teach the information. If one of your children have a teacher like that, move them out, because that's not good teaching. That all that they're concerned about is them getting the information. They're throwing out, grades just like, an assembly line at Mercedes. Absolutely not. No, that the teacher has to be one who is engaged, not just in the educational process, but the empowering process and the emotional process of that child, of our children. So yeah, definitely make sure you do something to appreciate teachers. Absolutely. See, doing so will cause your child to understand how valuable teachers are. That's right. That's what I said, how valuable teachers are, for real, for real. And we need to go back to show them exactly how valuable they are. Before we end today, I kind of want to make sure that we understand what it means to empower teachers, what it means to really show them the appreciation and the celebration that they deserve. Not just on a holiday, but every day. When our child achieves something, the teacher needs to get a note to say, hey, I appreciate you working with my child. I appreciate you. That when they started the year, they didn't understand how to get this math. Now they have a desire to do math, and now they're a math whiz. Appreciation. You do know what that is, right? Right? An appreciation, a simple note. Hey, I just wanted to send you this gift card. I wanted to send you this card. Ain't no money in it. Because I can't pay you for all that you do. I just want to encourage you that what you're doing for our children is making a difference. You see what I'm saying? See, everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be appreciated. But the reality is, oftentimes teachers don't get it. And that's a shame. It's a travesty in our society now that we do not appreciate and celebrate our teachers like they need to be. And guess what? We can do better. I want to say that again, because I meant what I said. We can do better, and we should. And guess what culture call? I'm going to say it right here. And we will do better by our teachers. Listen, teacher, you are making a difference every day in the lives of our students. Your dedication and your hard work are shaping the future generations. Yeah, that cannot be put to the side. You are valuable. You are definitely valuable. Your passion for teaching is inspiring. I mean, because again, I know some of these kids. I see some of them. I'm like, oh my God, this little baby here. Listen. And you every day you get up And no, you're going to have to deal with little Shakira. You're going to have to deal with little Tyrone. I know it. I know it. And yet, guess what you do? You show up anyway. And you embrace them. And you love them. That takes a lot. I don't think parents really understand it takes a lot. See, you're supposed to love your children. That you're the parents. But these teachers have to gain a love and grow a love and have a love, even for the unlovable. Yeah. And so, yeah, you are an inspiration. Your passion for that, your enthusiasm in the classroom creates a positive learning environment for our children. And we want to say thank you from the Culture Call. That's what we want to do. We want to start your year off on a positive note. That, yes, there are some things, some politicians, and there are some administrators that can be hard to swallow. We get it. We understand. Matter of fact, we overstand. We do. We know that it's difficult dealing with that kind of system. But you come and you show up again and again every day. Yeah. Now listen, teacher, hear me. Take care of yourself. Remember to take care of yourself. I remember one year I had the opportunity to go into the teacher's lounge. I maybe was in 4th or 5th grade. And I went into the teacher's lounge. And this one teacher, Miss Hunter, she used to love this whole this drink called Tab. Y'all remember that drink Tab? It's like a diet drink. And she was sitting there drinking her Tab. And just you would have thought that she was on a Jamaican beach. You'd have thought she was in Destin chilling out. It's like she was exhausted, but this Tab was giving her what she needed to kind of get through her day. Yes, teacher, you got to take care of yourself. Yeah. Matter of fact, parents, every now and then drop them a certificate to Massage Envy, a Spa Bella V. Send them to the spa. Because the teachers need it. They really do. Absolutely. Your well-being is just as important as the students. I want to say that one more again, that your well-being is just as important as the students' well-being is as well. So make sure that you take time to recharge and prioritize sometimes your self-care. Absolutely. Dealing with the politics and the maintenance and all these different kind of people holding you responsible and accountable for all these things, you have to map out, carve out. Please, ma'am, please, sir, carve out some time to take care of you. Okay? Yeah. And listen, embrace the challenges that come your way, because I have a sneaky suspicion that this year is going to be a challenging year for teachers. Yes. And I want you to embrace it. That's what I said. Embrace it. Yeah. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't give in. Embrace this year. Embrace it. You got what it takes to make it. You've got what it takes to make it happen. Yeah. So don't give up. Every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Remember that, teacher. And learning for both you and the student. Embrace that opportunity to learn something that you've never learned or haven't learned yet, right? Listen, your creativity and your innovation are appreciated, not just in your lesson planning, but how you deal with our children, how you see their minds, how you see them as individuals, how you see their potential, the potential that they have yet to discover. Thank you so much for making sure that your creativity and innovation and reaching them and bringing out the best in them is not overlooked. No, you're having a lasting impact on them. I'm telling you, I'm a witness to that. You are having a lasting impact on them. Listen, teacher, celebrate the small victories. Wow. Did you hear me? Celebrate the small victories. Every student's achievement. Yeah? Whether they've been getting wrong for a week and they finally get it right, celebrate that. And not just a personal celebration, let the whole class celebrate, because you're cultivating an atmosphere of achievement and celebration. You're cultivating an atmosphere of mutuality and interpersonal, appreciation for one another. Yeah, I saw on social media where this one boy, he was doing a lesson, he was in class, and the other little kid was praying for him that he got it right, because if he got it right, something was going to happen for the entire class, and he was just praying that the little boy got it right. And he got it right. The entire class erupted. That little boy went over to the other one and just hugged him and was like, yes, 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 you did it, you did it, you did it. Not only was that little boy proud, but the entire class got a little ice cream treat. I think that's what it was. Yeah, but that was the teacher. That was the teacher that made sure all of that happened. So celebrate every step forward. No matter how small it may look to other people, every little step forward is a reason to be proud, right? Continue learning. Don't stop learning. I know we are instructed to deal with the students and their learning, but don't you stop learning. Teacher, do you hear me? Don't you stop learning. That's right. Don't stop at all. Your commitment to professional development and staying up to date is important. Yeah. Don't employ current events. Get the children to think about what's going on in their world. Back it up. Reverse, rewind, play. Don't forget to do current events, because you need to start getting the children to think about what's going on in their world. Expose them to new things. Yeah, expose them to what's happening in different parts of the world. Ask them what they think should happen. Ask them what they think should be going on. Yeah. See, because when you do that, you're stimulating their mind to think about their future. Wait a minute, this is my world? This is the world that I will one day live in, and my children will live in. See, it shapes them. It makes them think about how they are being producers in their community. You see? So teacher, yeah, make sure you continue learning. Yeah, innovative ways to expose children to great things. This is going to be a successful year. I'm speaking it already. I'm proclaiming it. I'm declaring it. It is going to be an amazing school year. So teacher, we want to make sure that you've got everything that you need. Absolutely. All the encouragement that you need. We here at the Culture Call are in your corner. Now listen, when you do something crazy, Culture Call is going to be right here with Elle, going to be here to call you out. But when you're doing things great, I'm going to be the one standing on the top of the mountain telling everybody, pay attention to this great teacher, because you need it. Absolutely. Listen, this is the Culture Call with Elle Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3. Yeah, we got one more break, but it's going to be a good time when we come back. Yeah, got to land this airplane. I see the runway. Y'all stay right here. Don't miss it.
This is a world premiere.
Well, family, it has been an amazing day. An amazing, awesome day. Yeah. Right here on the Culture Call with Elle Spencer Smith, as we've been encouraging and giving out a big shout out to all of our teachers and educators that make it happen for us. We want to start off the school year like that. That's what we want to do. And all morning we have been encouraging you to make sure that you have a particular framework or gift, a particular whatever you want to give to that teacher at the beginning of the year. That's right. Not at the end. No, because they may not survive this kind of climate till the end. So we need to start off, give them an extra boost, and thank them for doing the hard work of teaching our children. Absolutely. You know, a quote says this. It says, to teach is to touch a life forever. Wow. Isn't that something? To teach is to touch a life forever. And that's what our teachers do. That's something that they did. Yeah, you see the subject that says math or English or, business admin or all of these different kinds of teachings and different kinds of skill sets and different kinds of areas of study. We see that as the label, but the truth of the matter is that if any teacher touches the heart of a child, a heart of their students, they are touching a life forever. You never forget those teachers that have made an indelible print and had an impact on your life. And so, yes, they need to be valued. They need to be respected and honored and celebrated, appreciated for all that they do, because they indeed make a difference. And as I said all throughout this show today, that on the Culture Call, we're going to honor teachers. When you need a little paddling, guess what? The Culture Call will be right here. Yes, L. Spencer Smith will be right here. But when you need celebrating, and that's what you need right now, I just believe it, we're going to be here to lead the charge of all these amazing teachers. Thank you so much for your gift of service. Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I come from a long line of educators, and so I know what you go through. So I can just simply say, thank you. Absolutely. Listen, as my grandmama and mama would say at the end of every phone call, I love you a bushel and I love you a peck and I love you a hug around the neck. This has been the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. Keep it right here for some more great, great music. It's going to be an amazing day on Praise 93.3 FM. Until tomorrow morning, we bid you Godspeed. Peace.